The Cube engine, considered to be one of the most unique arena first-person shooter engines in the world, hailing from the Netherlands. Development for the original Cube started in 2001 by Wouter van Oortmessen. I know, I'm going to butcher some names. Better known as Aardappel. With music scored by Mark A. Pollan, known simply as Fanatic. It would then come into the spotlight when Oortmessen, Lee Salzman, and Mike Dysart would develop Cube 2 Sauerbraten, with Fanatic for the music again. That will be compared with two other Sauerbraten engine games, which are Red Eclipse and Assault Cube, originally known as Action Cube. This is another Quake-like engine, in case you were curious. I seem to be covering Quake engines for this series so far. But as I keep researching, and you keep listening, all I care about is that you are enlightened enough to consider the software in this series. My name is Nixon Cocules, and this is Computing Comparisons. In previous episodes, I covered two other AFPS engines, Dark Places and id Tech 3. The link to the playlist for this podcast is in the description below if you'd like to know about them. I don't want to go off topic too much, however. Let's talk about Cube 2 Sauerbraten. Cube 2 Sauerbraten is a Dutch freeware AFPS. But Nixendoy, you may be saying. We thought you cover only free and open source shooters and not closed source ones. The code to Sauerbraten is licensed under the zlib license, but some multimedia assets are proprietary. At this point, nobody has made a fully free and open source game using the Sauerbraten engine. But out of the box, it's fantastic in its unique design. The weapons to me, however, are a little odd, except an Instagib, as I specialize in that. My background happened to be games like Zanatic, Apex Legends, and even CSGO, so I have a hard time adjusting to the weapons in this game. To the average viewer, this is just another video symbolizing chaos as I keep fragging and getting fragged, like you see in the background. Let me explain a little bit about the gunplay before I go into a tangent, as I always do. It's your typical AFPS format, but how you switch weapons can be a little weird if you're used to using the mouse wheel like I am. For you key-bound players, this is right up your alleyway, but as a mouse wheel dude, that is a bit difficult, as I have to middle-click the mouse wheel in order to use a different weapon than the last. I have no dexterity or patience to learn it. That's just me, being straight up. This game's maps are what make it stand out, as well as the movement. I'll get into the latter first. It's different from your other AFPS games, as they require you to just hold your jump button. In Sauerbraten, you have to essentially spam your jump button to keep jumping just to get a tiny boost in speed. I'm used to that at this point in time. By the way, this is also a requirement in Open Arena and Quake 3 Arena, discussed in Episode 2. That doesn't mean you can't go fast, but it does mean you have to learn how to keep a good rhythm as you jump. One quick note before I get into the arenas. The game is graphically dated, like you're playing Quake 3 or Unreal Tournament 99. The graphical simplicity of this game is by design, though it looks good on modern machines like mine at maximum settings. The selling point of Sauerbraten is the map editing functions, and the ability to do this in real time over the internet, even with a 56K modem connection for those that know what that was like. Beautiful maps were made this way, and most of them look super good. And I'm not even a mapper myself. Sure, you have the standard game modes, a fantastic single player with a solid campaign, and a horde mode called SPDM, or Single Player Deathmatch, and more. But come on, you know the mapping is what really drives this game's interest. Had it not been for a May 6, 2004 release, a day after Cinco de Mayo. Coincidence? Maybe not. Though this is a fantastic shooter on its own, and the music is nice and dark, it's a game engine at the end of the day after all. As given by the small amount of games there are that even use this engine, like shown on screen. As you've seen in that list, there's a modern fork of Sour called Tomatenkork, which has a few elements of the original, just beautified a touch, though the maps are all Capture the Flag maps from what I can tell. It's on Steam if you'd like to check that out. And then there's a more graphically demanding fork called Tessaract, which allows for better graphics rendering techniques, but will up your resource requirements to do so. That said, there are two other games I will be comparing, which are SaltCube and Red Eclipse as mentioned, two very unique shooters in their own right. Both of them use Sour, the engine. That said, I'll choose a SaltCube first. Now this is a good Call of Duty alternative for those that can't play the modern games due to the anti-Linux anti-cheats used. I happen to use Linux, so I know what that's like. Cough cough Tencent. Since there are only two open source alternatives to COD, this one's your best bet. Unless you want to play something dead, like Ubergame, another FOSS shooter using a modified Torque 3D. Anyway, SaltCube is a military-style arcade shooter, which has elements of other AFPS games, but it wasn't designed for that. This game revolved around team-based combat, and boy was it very popular and competitive from 2008 to maybe 2015, just to stay conservative. It was known as Action Cube initially, but was changed at the request of the developers of Action Quake. It also retains some of Cube's features, like in-game map editing and simplistic graphics. The engine for SaltCube is free and open source software, but the inner workings of the SaltCube game are not. Specifically, the graphics and other multimedia assets, which are under closed licenses for some, and Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike for others. This game is considered to be freeware because of that, except for the engine. For the team-based combat of this game, there are two teams you can be assigned to. The Cubers Liberations Army, or Charlie Lima Alpha, and the Rabbit Viper Special Forces, or Romeo Victor Sierra Foxtrot. Rabbit Viper are the developers of this game, just in case you didn't catch the latter team's name. The two organizations duke it out to complete certain objectives and pwn their opponents while at it. The frag text used in this game is absolutely in your face and even taunts you if you've been fragged. Honestly, I love it. The gunplay in this game was designed to be semi-realistic, though the weapons are imaginary. The firearms are based upon designs in the real world, however, so you may know what the design mimics if you're into military-style weapons. Getting out of that, the movement can get very advanced. Even I didn't know any of this while researching this game. There are a few bugs deliberately left in, like strafe walking, which is akin to strafing in the Doom franchise, and the ability to use recoil to make advanced moves never thought possible. These were discovered by clans, some of which participated in tournaments held for this game. This was an esport, though small in number for the player base. In my experience playing online games, more players equals more toxicity. Good thing I don't play too many MMOs, because otherwise I would be bullied just for playing well. Let me learn my own way, for crying out loud. Let me focus again. This isn't the most advanced play in the background, and I'm not a pro player, nor can I even become one, because this game isn't as active as it was in 2009. I wonder if Red Eclipse is more active. Let's check that out real quick, as I'm done with Assault Cube. Red Eclipse, which first released on March 15, 2011, is an improved version of the Cube 2 engine, though it used that engine in the beginning. It is a graphically advanced version of this engine, as it uses parts of Tessaract, which allows for more graphical rendering techniques, as explained earlier. It still retains the in-game map editing and other niceties that Sauerbraten offers. It is a fork of the defunct Blood Frontier project, which also used the Sauerbraten engine. Over time, this game would see multiple engine changes, from Sauer to Tessaract to now its own engine based upon Sauerbraten and Tessaract combined. I'm telling you, the graphics look good. Better than what you would see in Quake 3 Arena and Unreal Tournament 99. For those curious, this game is truly free software, as the code is zlib licensed, and the multimedia assets are Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike licensed, which makes for a truly free game. Unlike the Sauerbraten engine, this is truly FOSS. The gunplay in this game is more of a true deathmatch style, but the movement is what stands out, as parkour is implemented into this game's movement mechanics. Though it isn't too competitive from what I've played, the added wall running and vaulting over obstacles makes your movement super expressive. I would even say, if I learned it enough, I can just use movement to frag other players, and even frag bots more often, like Fade does in Apex Legends on Twitch. Though, Apex is a battle royale game, and this is an AFPS. That's my quick take on the movement. The weapons in this game play like in Quake and UT, but the movement is similar to that of Xonotic from what I can tell. What you can see in the background is me playing with the rifle, which has 6 cells in the magazine. I'm playing Instagib Duel here, though not very well. You can load up to 30 rifle cells on yourself and another 6 in the firearm itself. That's just an example of the weapon mechanics of this game. Linked below is a page detailing all the weapons in the documentation. I use the sword and rifle as my loadout weapons normally, but I've also been getting into the shotgun and the plasma. There are multiple modes in this game too, so pick your poison. In 2012, the game added King of the Hill and Co-op in version 1.3, the Galactic Edition. At that time, this game was using the Sauerbraten engine, and it was already looking good. On December 21st, 2017, the game would be updated in 1.6, the Sunset Edition, which was the final version before implementing elements from the Tessaract engine. After Sunset, Jupiter would release on December 19th, 2019, which implements elements from both Sauer and Tessaract to make their own engine. And it looks as good as ever. It is over 3 years old at this point in time, but I don't care about that. It still looks beautiful. Did I mention this game is truly Libre already? I think I have. That was a quick look at the Sauerbraten engine games. From the game of the same name, to an arcadey COD alternative, to one that implements extreme parkour to frag your opponents. I'd say personally, you'll want to play Sour if you want the original 2004 experience, though there is a newer version nowadays. You'll want to play Assault Cube if you want something akin to older Call of Duty games, and you'll want Red Eclipse if you want something more modern, and also on Steam, just like Tomatenquark. I know this was quicker, but I think episodes of this series are starting to become efficient. What do you think? That is about it for this episode of Computing Comparisons. If you like what you see and want to see more like this in the future, you can do this one of 5 ways. You can hit like to show your support to the CoculesNation, hit subscribe to become a member of the CoculesNation. You can hit the bell to be notified when new videos arrive every Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. Pacific Time. You can comment on all of our videos. All videos are open for comment. And you can share this channel with your family and friends and get them into gaming on Linux. We also have a server on Revolt called the CoculesNation Core Server. It is always linked in the description below, as I use Revolt instead of Discord for personal reasons. That said, thank you, and good night.